Assalamu alaikum and very good morning to all the students. This is Almas Kazi from Anjuman Islam Abdulazim Khatkate English Secondary School, and today we are going to study the topic from Standard 7, and today we are going to start with a new chapter in civics, and the name of our topic is Constitution. Today we are going to discuss about introduction to our Constitution. When we talk about in the civics textbook of our previous classes, we saw many reasons why rules are necessary in our lives. We follow norms and rules in order that activities in the family, our school, our village, or our city are carried out smoothly. And there are no rules in a family. However, there are norms about the behavior of members in a family. There are rules in a school too regarding admission, uniform, and studies. And also when the different competition also have their own rules. And the administration of our village or city is also carried out in accordance with rules. Similarly, with this we are able to understand that the administration of our country is carried out through a system of rules. The rules regarding family, school, village, or city are limited in nature, but the rules or provision about the administration of a country are much wider in scope. So, let us study and let us start with our new topic and let us discuss about our constitution. When we talk about the word constitution, what is a constitution? So, a constitution is the book in which all the provisions regarding the administration of the country are mentioned together in a systematic way is called a constitution. Now, this makes the constitution a written document of the provision related to the administration of our country. When we talk about our constitution, here the government is established by the representatives elected by the people, and so it is bound to carry out the administration of the country as per the provision of the constitution. When we talk about constitution, the rules and provision in the constitution are the basic or fundamental law of the land. So, with this, we are able to understand that while making laws, the government is bound to follow the constitution. And if it does not do so, then the judiciary can declare those laws null and void or unconstitutional. So, with this, we are able to get a clear picture about what is a constitution. It is a written document, and everything is written that how our government is going to work. Now, let us discuss about the provisions in the constitution. Now, the provision in the constitution are about different things, that is citizenship, um, the rights of the citizen, the relation between citizen and the state. Subject of the laws are made by the government, election, restriction on government, jurisdiction of the state, etc. When we talk about almost all the countries, they have accepted the principle of governance according to the constitution. Yet, the nature of the constitution of different country is different. There are difference of history, social structure, culture, tradition, etc. with regard to all countries. Similarly, their needs and objectives also might be different. Each country tries to create a constitution that is not only suited to its needs and objective, but also is in tune with its distinct nature. So we are able to understand that while framing a constitution, every country needs to take into consideration and think about it. Now, when we talk about the administration of a countries like America and England, it is said that it is carried out as per their respective constitution. But both the constitution are totally different from each other. Like when we talk about the American Constitution, it came into force in 1789 and it is a written constitution and has only 7 articles. Even after 225 years, the American government still follows the same constitution. But when we talk about England, England has a long history of several centuries. The rules of running the country here are found in the form of convention, norms, and tradition. Yet they are being followed in this way. And the Magna Carta of 1215 marks the beginning of the development of Indian English Constitution. Even though there are certain written rules, the English Constitution is considered to be primarily unwritten. So we are able to discuss the difference between both the constitution which we are able to see here. Now, let us move further and let us discuss about its necessity. There are several advantages of governing a country with the help of rules or provision which are included in a constitution. The first one when we talk about here, as you can see in the picture, which indicate rules, laws and regulation. That is, a government has to function within a set of rules. This reduces the possibility of misuse of power and authority they have been given because they have to work according to what is being written. So, somewhere or the other, we are vigilant, we become aware that how we need to carry out things in a proper way. When we talk about a constitution, it also includes the rights and freedom of the citizen, which cannot take away, nobody can take away this right. Even the government cannot take away this right. And therefore, a people's right and freedom are safeguarded. And when we talk about running a country, that is, a country has to run as per the provision of the constitution, is the same as establishing the rule of law. Then, because of that, there is no scope that anybody could misuse the power, or it would take high handed the administration. So in this way the things may work in a proper way. And the next one is we are talking about that if a country is run as per the constitution, the faith that the common people have in the government increases. They then become keen on participating in the activities of the government. And democracy is strengthened due to the increased participation of the people. Students, when we say democracy, as we know, we are having a democratic system of government. It, what is democracy? Of the people, for the people, to the people. That means everything for the betterment of the people. And definitely, India is a democratic country, so it has to run. The government has to work according to the constitution of our country. When we talk about our constitution, it also presents some political ideals before the country. That is, the nation has to, bound to act in that particular direction. It also creates an atmosphere that will bring about peace and security, not only in the country but in the world. And it also talks about how to preserve human rights which are guaranteed to us when we were born. And similarly, in this way, things work accordingly. So, with this, we are able to understand that how things are working. Now, when we talk about our constitution, Since our constitution also, include the list of citizen duties, it also fixes the responsibility of citizens as well. Like in the picture, when you look at the fundamental duties, definitely with rights, we also have our duties, which is our duty and our responsibility, that how are we going to follow it. So with this, we are able to understand that how important it is and how necessary it is for us to move and do everything as per the constitution. Now, when we talk about over here, and let us see that what is included in the administration of a country. Now, the government has to make laws relating to several subjects, such as the defending the boundaries, or where you talk about eradicating poverty in the society, creating employment, education and health services, encouragement to commerce and industries, protection of the weaker section, and also making policies for the progress of women, children, and the tribal people, etc. Now, with this, the government has to bring about desirable changes in the society by implementing laws. In short, we can say government in modern times have to take decisions related to different issues, right from space research i- to public cleanliness. This is called as administration. Now, having understood the meaning of constitution and governance, we shall now see how the Indian constitution was made. Now, let us talk about the background to the making of the constitution. The process of making of the Indian constitution started in 1946. Now, when it started in 1946, the leaders of the freedom movement insisted that independent India will be governed not by laws made by the British, but by laws which were made by Indians themselves. And similarly, because of that, a committee was established to prepare the Constitution of Independent India, which came to be known as Constituent Assembly. Here you can see in picture the committee of the Constituent Assembly of India. And with this, we are able to understand that how this committee work for the betterment of our country, and in this thinking over it, that how the people in India are going to live safely, and they are going to follow the rules which are written by Indians and not by the Britishers. When we talk about the Constituent Assembly, as we know, India became independent on August 15, 1947. And before that, the British had ruled over India, and they had divided India into provinces like Bombay, Bengal, and Madras for the convenience of administration. They also, they had also uh, carried out the people's representative as well. And then we are able to see that how the administration in these provinces were carried out by people's representative. Similarly, the local princes were carrying out the administration in some areas too. Such areas were known as princely states, and their chiefs were known as princes. Now, similarly, the representatives of the provinces and the princely states were included in the Constituent Assembly. Now, when we talk about over here, there were a total of 299 members in the Constituent Assembly, and Dr. Rajendra Prasad was the president of the Constituent Assembly. So, with this, we are able to understand that with every step, we were trying to design the policy and the laws which could be better for the running, for the smooth functioning of our country. Now, let us discuss about the contribution of Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar was the chairman of the drafting committee. He had studied, in depth the constitution of different countries of the world. And he studied, contemplated day and night to draft our constitution. And the draft constitution prepared by him was presented to the Constituent Assembly, and then later it was discussed article by article. Many, the amendments were suggested by different members, and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar handled the task of presenting the draft, answering, the various changes, which took place, which we can see in this picture as well, where the Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, was handled the task of presenting the draft, answering the various questions which were raised on it, and also making the changes as per the suggestion which were put up in the Constituent Assembly, and making sure that every provision of the Constitution is going to be, in such a way where everything will be worked properly. Now, due to his contribution toward the making of the Constitution, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar is called as the architect of Indian Constitution. So, you need to remember when we say who is the architect of our Constitution. So, students, you need to remember that Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar is the architect of our Indian Constitution. And why he has been given that name? Because of his effort in drafting the Constitution, in doing the study day and night, trying to get to know about the different constitution of different countries, and then trying to design the constitution which could be well suited for the people residing in India. So, with this, we are able to understand that his efforts were such which help us to, live today in peace and harmony. Now, when we talk about the decision in the Constituent Assembly, it were made on the basis of debate and discussion, and a respect for opposing viewpoint and acceptance for appropriate suggestion was a main characteristics, of the working of the Constituent Assembly. When we talk about for making of this constitution, it almost took 2 years, 11 months, and 17 days to complete the writing of the constitution. And in this constitution, there were 25 parts, 18 articles, and 12 schedules in the original, the constitution which was there. So with this, we are able to understand that how the, while framing the constitution, how much effort was taken. When we talk about the Constituent Assembly, it enacted the Constitution and adopted it on 26 November 1949, and therefore 26 November is observed as Constitution Day. As students, even you all remember that recently we also celebrated this day in our history lecture, when we had done many of the activities where we had discussed about rights and duties. What are the rights and duties of us as a citizen of this nation? And similarly with that, we have also, taken a place that how are we going to follow, our right, and how are we going to, do our duties truthfully. Now, the country began to be governed according to the provision of the Constitution from 26 January 1950, and the Indian Republic came into existence from this day. Therefore, we celebrate 26 January as Republic Day. Now, and then later on, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar presented the draft of the Indian Constitution to Dr. Rajendra Prasad, who was the president of the Constituent Assembly. So, with this, we are able to understand that Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar contribution was in a wide range of fields like water conservation, foreign policy, national security, journalism, economics, social justice, and many other problems which we today talk about and discuss in our society. At that time, which solution was brought by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. So, students, I hope that today you all have understood about our constitution and how much effort were put up in framing this constitution. So, I hope you will follow the laws which are guaranteed to us by our constitution. So, for today, this much. So, everybody